Hello, good evening, and welcome to Telling Tales. Here we tell atmospheric stories together through the medium of tabletop role-playing games. It's Monday night, which means that we are playing Vaesen, Mythic Britain and Ireland. This is the beginning of the fourth arc, so it's now becoming the longest thing that I've run on the channel. Very exciting. Before we get started, though, promo stuff. So below the video are links to our social media, our YouTube if you're watching on Twitch, or Twitch if you're watching on YouTube, our Discord, which you should join and come and chat to us and the other people who enjoy the channel, and also our Patreon. So if you do enjoy what we do, you can support us there and receive numerous rewards for your support. Other things that we do on the channel, on Wednesday nights, there is Simba Room, and 1 or 2 weekend days a month, we do a different one-shot adventure on a weekend. I just ran a Bat Out of Hell game that I came up with myself last weekend, so that will be on YouTube soon for your enjoyment. And starting next Thursday, I think, Pierre is going to be running a mini series on Thursdays called The Big Wet, which I believe is about a flooded world. Maybe Kevin Costner will be in it, maybe he won't, I don't know. Anyway, if you join the Discord, you could get up-to-date information on our events tab on the Discord. Yeah, that's probably the best place to get the information about what's happening when. But for now, I'm going to do a big story recap of the overall thing. So the group, as they are, were discovered by the Apollonian Society as people who have the sight, which means that they can see Vaesen, mythical creatures. They were then sent on a kind of test mission where they were being watched over by Sir Rupert and Eleanor, his sister-in-law. And they ended up meeting and fighting a red cap. And then they were basically given, sign off to continue on mysteries on their own. The group then, as a second mystery, were looking into a man who had gone missing in Bodmin, and ended up finding out that it was pixies. While they were there, they made a rather good and quite well-off friend in Lady Esmeralda Spence. And also met a young woman called Gladys Pugh, who they found was sort of latched upon by a creature called a Spiritus, which was this sort of demonic small creature in a little box that was grabbing her, sort of, well, attempting to take over her faculties, I suppose, and use her for evil deeds. So she was brought back to the Rose House, which is where the group stay. And then, as part of the sort of upgrading of the house, a weapons corridor was unlocked. And what is now believed to be a fairy was sort of freed from that room. And became rather enamored with Gale, one of the group. Then so when the group was sent to Bodmin, it was by the brother of the assistant to Lady Spence, and he believed that he had the sight because he had seen a creature in the Thames, he said, in the past. Anyway, this thing seems to have come back, and it was found to be a sea serpent, and it had taken somebody into the river. So the group ended up facing off against this sea serpent in one of the sort of sluice tunnels off the side of the Thames, and winning, but at reasonable cost. So Henry, one of the group, ended up with what's called an insight in the system because he got to the broken status and ended up keeping the sort of critical injury that he had. Which actually you get insights or defects, and Henry was lucky, I suppose. He got an insight which can grant him a positive thing once a session, and so Rupert and Eleanor were notably missing throughout the majority of the previous arc. And at the very end, a letter was received at Rose House, which basically said that they were on a boat and it was believed that it had sunk. Unconfirmed at the moment, but all people were being treated as missing, presumed dead, that were on board. So that was how the previous arc ended, after the group had come to a small kind of understanding about what was going to happen with the fairy that had been kind of following Mosling around. So let's just do a little character recap. So let's bring on, let's say, John, who plays B.
Hey, John. So I knew you were going to say me first.
I just looked at the Discord and was like, John's there. So we'll just do a little character recap. B is the hunter archetype and has a child with her called Adam. Tell us just a very small amount about B, and then we'll move on to somebody else.
B, until recently, was basically living whatever the Victorian version of off-grid was, in a cottage in the forest, raising Adam on her own and hunting for subsistence, and has now been forced now has to live in London, which she's very not happy about, and interact with all sorts of people she's not very happy about. But, you know, most of them are good at heart, she guesses.
Thanks. Let's bring on Steve, who plays Henry Bonneville. Hey, Steve.
Hi.
Quick little bit of info about Henry, maybe go into the insight a little bit.
Sure. Yeah. Just like absolute chaos tonight. New start of a new arc. Everything's random. People being brought on in totally random, unknown orders. It's amazing. Yeah. Henry. So Henry's a little bit down at the moment because he did almost die in the sewers below London, just having glimpsed this horrific sea serpent creature. So yes, feeling a little bit delicate at the moment. Henry is a private detective. He's been fairly new to the whole Vaesen thing. He got the site having been attacked by something that was quite dog-like and large, and ever since has had the feeling he's being hunted. So trying his best to help out with whatever mysteries turn up at this society, but always looking over his shoulder at the moment.
Thank you.
Insight, yes.
Yeah.
Overcome with the sneer death experience, Henry now has what was referred to in the book as absolute empathy. So this insight allows me to do a number of things. Possibly just the most straightforward is boosting observation by 4 dice, but there are some other interesting things as well, like having sort of visions about how a case might be solved, or granting temporary sight to somebody else. So, you know, lots of fun things. Yeah.
Which you're definitely not planning to use for any sort of mildly nefarious, vengeful uses on anyone at all.
Of course not.
No. Great. Let's bring on Inga, who plays Constance, please. Hey, Inga.
Yeah.
Gives a little catch up on Constance.
Yeah, Constance is probably one of the ones that Bee's maybe not so sure about being good at heart. I don't know, maybe we'll find out. She is the priest archetype in the book, but she's a nun in practice, but that's the kind of archetype from the book. She is definitely a bit evangelistic about this stuff, and you very much. I mean, she came to her faith from her kind of experience, her sort of traumatic experience with a Vaesen, and has so far been very validated in holy water being a good solution to a lot of problems, and similarly kind of religious religious artifacts, crucifixes and things like that. So there's definitely a bit of a tension kind of building over some of that stuff, and conflicts with other members of the party potentially around some of that. But that's kind of constant. She's very much with the society at the moment because she's kind of seeing this as her new kind of religious purpose. You know, solving the world's facing problems. It's no such thing as coincidence.
Lovely, thank you. Let's bring on Justin, who plays Gail Mosling Forsmark. Always get the full name for Gail Mosling Forsmark. Give us a bit of a recap on Gail Mosling Forsmark, please, Justin.
I mean, very much the hero of every story. I think he's witty, intelligent, likable. He has lots of friends, and everyone is enamored with his book series on the infrastructure of Britain's roads and railways. Always talking about it at parties, things like that. So, as you can tell, he's a right hoot, and smart, dashing. And has a camera. What more could you like? He's basically a movie maker.
Mosling was the hero of the last arc, to be fair to him. As the
he's got a bit of a thing about fairies. He's an absentee father. All of the archetypes that you want in a British Victorian man.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. And Sam, let's bring Sam on, who plays Hux. Hey, Sam.
Hello.
Quick little recap on Hux, please.
Yeah, so sort of a vagrant, underhanded rogue could be the positive way of saying it. You might say criminal. I mean, it's arguably true, but, maybe it's a harsh judgment nonetheless. He's quite a big guy, kind of an older guy. He's got a bit of a past. He's maybe kind of had dealings with and dealt with Vaesen for quite a lot of his life, I think. Likes a good drink, likes a good sleep, likes good food. Kind of surprised to find himself where he is, I think, at the moment. People seem to find him important, and they're very kind of upper class people who seem to find him important. And it's a little bit, he feels like, I think he's felt a little bit out of place for a while, but he's getting a bit more comfortable now, where blowing things up and stuff, it probably feels a bit more his sort of thing. I don't know.
Cool, thank you. The previous arc ended with a letter being received, which was addressed to the residents of Rose House, care of Hawkins. It said, we regret to inform you that the steamboat, and I have a name now, the SS Rollo, on which Sir Rupert Merriweather and Eleanor Blakely were travelling, is believed to have sunk, and all passengers are missing and sadly presumed dead. So, throughout the course of the afternoon and evening of that day, Lady Spence and Gladys have left, as they were intending to, but slightly early, to head back and basically allow the group the time and space to grieve, essentially. She also kind of slyly said to at least one or maybe two of you that she thought perhaps Gladys being away from upsetting things may also be beneficial to her at this time. So they headed off kind of mid-afternoon. The next morning comes around, and you're all kind of awoken by the sound of Hawkins clattering around in the kitchen, which is not like him.
We'll go down.
I will be going downstairs to see if he's all right.
Same.
I don't think any of us will have slept well, really. I presume not.
Actually, what I meant to do is, can you all please... I'm going to use the fear roll with a rating of 1 to kind of deal with this uncertainty and the fact that you know, as a group now almost don't have somebody to take something up the chain to.
Conditions are still in effect, aren't they?
I am happy if you want to have had a scene overnight, because we've kind of jumped ahead. So I'm happy that if you want to say that you've done something to sort of, depending on what they are, to recover something, I would be okay with that.
I could propose a group light drinking and slight commiserating session.
Yeah,
it seems to be what we're doing these days. So
Constance also will have offered to pray with anyone who wanted it.
Huck would definitely take you up on the former.
Just as a reminder for the fear check when I get to it, you're going to roll on logic or empathy?
I feel like it was either of those, yeah.
Page 68.
Yes, logic or empathy. Yeah. And you can add additional dice equal to the number of player characters present in the scene, maximum of +3. So everybody can add 3 to their logic or empathy, roll that many dice, and you're looking for 1 success, basically, to not take
So
a
I
condition.
also have the one of the talents, which is safety in numbers, which is a +2 fear, +2 dice to fear if I've got 2 or more people, like friends around me. So is that +2 on top of the 3?
I would say that stacks, because otherwise that talent wouldn't really make any sense as like do you know what I mean? If you if you get the +3 anyway without needing a talent, I would say that talent is on top of.
It would have to be on top of, yeah.
But as we know, more dice is less successes.
That's true. I fail, but I will also remind everyone that I don't sleep here. So, you know, I'll see you after breakfast.
Yeah.
Wow.
I get 1 success.
2 successes.
I get
Well, I
1
have
success.
the brave talent as well, so that gives me a +1 on top of a number of dice. So I did get 1 success. God.
Okay.
Out of 9
Glad
dice.
this isn't the World of Darkness system, because I got like 4 1s and 2 successes. That would have massively cancelled things out. So yeah.
So Mosling essentially gets a mental condition for for the upset of this situation. It kind of makes sense. Everybody else bands together, and Mosling has gone home and tried to deal with it alone. And there's no with a 1, there's no point in pushing a roll because you're gonna take a condition then anyway, right? So anybody who goes downstairs to check on Hawkins, he's just sort of, he's not his usual self. He's still performing his tasks, but slightly clumsily. And, you know, he's normally very precise, and you only sort of know that he's there when it is more in line of him performing his duties for you to know that he's there. Like sometimes a cup of tea will appear in front of you and you won't know where it's come from. Whereas if you need to know some information, then he would be there for you to, you know. So him sort of making his presence known is quite rare. And as he turns with a tray of stuff and sort of one of them clatters off onto the counter, you can see that there's kind of a, you know, tear streaks. Good morning.
Morning.
Tea, breakfast?
How about I do breakfast?
Oh, no, I couldn't. No. You could We could both make breakfast, though.
All right.
Yeah. And
I'll
set about.
set straight to it. No further words said.
Yeah.
I think I'll attempt to chip in as well. If trying to stay out of the way, not make things worse, but yes, sort of communal, just helping out.
What are Hooks and Constance doing?
Constance is same, quietly helping out. Like
Okay.
a joint breakfast situation.
I imagine I'm kind of just lurking in the corner, politely lurking in the corner.
How does one politely lurk?
It's an art form. You need many years of practice.
I'll occasionally hand Hux like a tea towel or something to hold to be vaguely helpful, but not really.
I'll just have my
Getting in the
hand
way.
out, Griffith holding detail boy.
What time is Mosling planning on coming over?
I think after breakfast.
After breakfast. Okay. So yeah, breakfast is complete. No more words said from Hawkins unless anybody says anything to him. And he kind of starts to carry some bits through to the sitting room.
I'll pick up some bits and pieces to carry through with him. I might just say, Hawkins, I know this might be difficult to speak about, but is there anybody else that we should be in touch with about this news? Is there anybody else involved with the society or family of Rupert that? And I'm sure you've thought of everything, but we've not grown that familiar with any of the wider. If there's anything else that we can do to help.
I will have a think.
Have we had any indication that Hawkins, goes to visit family, has other people in his life significantly that he spends time with at all? None whatsoever.
You've always just known him be here and only ever deal with your group and anyone who knocks at the door.
I was about to say that was slightly odd, and then I realised Hux is actually identical to that, so I can't really complain.
If are there any rooms or things that we ought, perhaps a study or some records of the society that we ought to look through?
There may be things in the library about. I think there are other chapters, but I don't know the details.
If you have a record of any visitors, of anything like that as well, perhaps that's if we find all that in the library, we can have a look and pull through some of those things for you.
Yes, of course, yeah. He disappears off.
I'll relay that to anyone who else who wasn't there and head through to start having a bit of a look through records and things in the library.
I'm just kind of more curious, more things about Hawkins now. I'm assuming he has like a room that, do any of us know where it is / have ever gone in? Or is it like his sanctuary over there that none of us touch, sort of thing?
Sanctuary / servants' quarters that we wouldn't.
Well, no, you know what I mean.
Worry
Like it's his
ourselves
private
about.
space. I'm just curious.
I presume the
We'll
only name we know him by is Hawkins as well.
Yeah, I mean, this is basically the point that Hux is starting to think about these things, and maybe I go, isn't it strange that?
Presumably you
Yeah,
have like servants' quarters in the basement or something, which most of us might not even be aware is even there.
Constance has had no curiosity about where servants' quarters might be and where Hawkins goes when he's not serving tea and things. I thought muzzling might be similar.
To be fair, Harks might know this more than most, I suppose. I might pay attention to it, but I don't know.
I think Mosling has thought these things and then thought, I don't care. Like, that's...
Maybe at one point might have thought of asking his own butler where he goes when he's not in front of Mosling, and then decided that didn't matter.
I'll tell you what. Everybody make me vigilance -1 rolls.
Just one less dice.
Yes, please.
One success.
I'm wasting
success.
good rolls already. I rolled 7 dice and got 3 successes.
One success.
Okay. Yeah. Anyone who succeeded, you have seen Hawkins go in and out of a room. It's not like it's one of the normal bedrooms. But you would imagine like he's looked upon quite fondly, obviously by so it's not, there's not as much of like, he's more of an employee than a servant per se. So it's kind of, he's treated with the utmost respect by everybody. Steve, you said you got 3 successes. You've seen into the room. You've happened to be walking past as Hawkins has come out of the room, and it's pristine, not like weird, but like completely tidy. The bed would like I'll say you've walked past twice, and both times the bed has been perfectly made, and there's no like sock on the floor or anything. It's all like very, very neat and tidy.
No soil, nothing like that.
I
also love how politely you managed to give Henry the "I've totally sneaked a look into Hawkins' bedroom" role.
Private detective, you've got to keep tabs on
/
people.
bedroom snooper.
I thought that was your Mosling's dark secret.
No, that's really Harks, surely.
Mosling's no pervert. He's too repressed to be a pervert.
I'm just a bedroom grubbier. I just bring soil into people's bedrooms. I don't snoop in them. It's just a strange statement.
Sorry, Inga, did you say Constance is going to have a look in the library?
Yeah, she wants to figure out, who's in charge now? Is there someone else we ought to be notifying? Are there, if we don't turn up one day, open this secret envelope. Do you know what I mean? Like that kind of, what's the succession plan kind of document?
Okay.
Who's the executor of the, the paperwork, basically.
If there are any sort of, curses that are ticking down to, breaking free of some awful seal, that sort of thing.
Sure, yeah, that hadn't occurred to me, but who knows what we'll find.
Sorry.
Haven't watched enough Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Not occurred to me either, but I'm making copious notes now.
Their existence was keeping some sort of terrible creature at bay, all these sorts of things.
The usual,
The usual.
I think Henry will be perhaps go to the library as well, but will be looking for, if possible, for more details on like where the ship was, what the route was, if there's anything in the papers. Henry hasn't sort of given up hope yet, so there's he's wanting to research that angle of it, I think.
Okay.
And just we'll see how the rolls go as well. But I think if there isn't anything in the library, I don't know whether or not I'll be able to have access to it. But Constance's next thoughts would be like, do they have a little desk in their private rooms, kind of thing? I know Hawkins sort of directed the library, but that is also in mind.
Okay. Yeah, Sam and John, what were you guys going to be doing?
I was going to make the case for an observation roll, and my observation roll was to have noticed at some point what Hawkins' favourite drink / meal is, and I was going to wait for him to be in the other room and try and make it for him and make him sit down and have it.
Okay, lovely. And John?
I'm going to follow Henry because I want to have a conversation with him when convenient.
Okay, cool. So Inga, let's have you make your role in the library, learning role, please.
2 successes.
Okay. So you find some information on a Scottish chapter of the Apollonian Society, and you also, in a sort of your sort of mind is potentially blown a little by finding that there are in fact chapters in various different European countries on the mainland. So yeah, it's not just confined to the British Isles. And it seems like the main the sort of main chapter of the society on the whole seems to be in Uppsala in Sweden. Then if you go looking around in their sort of private quarters, you find in an unlocked drawer in Rupert's desk an envelope. Are you going to open the envelope? It's not addressed to anyone. It's literally a blank envelope, but you can tell that there is something inside it.
We'll bring it back to I think if Henry in the library, and assuming I don't get like a oh no, definitely don't answer, definitely don't open that, I will open it. So Miss Bonneville, I found this in Rupert's desk. It's not addressed to anybody, but given the scenario, the situation, I would rather like to open it.
Yes, I think we have a duty to keep things running and learn what we can, and yes, I think you're right to do so.
It was unlocked, and all right. I'll open it up and have a read.
It simply says, "Defer to Hawkins."
Does it look like does the handwriting match Rupert's, or does it look suspiciously like Hawkins's handwriting? Okay, yeah, just
No, yeah, it's Rupert's handwriting.
Gotta check these things, you never know. Cool.
Rupert married into the society, did he? He was him and Eleanor were in-laws. Did he ever mention his wife?
Are you asking me?
I'm
Is this in
asking
character?
Bonneville and Kirk, but if Bonneville and Constance, but if there's something that we should remember, then
Yeah, Steve can't remember.
I remember us talking about how she had, like, her family and her husband. I can't remember. Was it the other way around?
I've gotten the impression because Eleanor's father wrote or was associated with a note that you didn't like about the Spertus.
Yeah,
So
that's right.
basically,
Rupert married in.
all
'Cause
that
there's
he has said is that his wife basically wasn't involved in any. So I think it was literally the first session, or very early on, when he was discussing about him and Eleanor, it was basically just that she was his sister-in-law and that his wife didn't basically have anything to do with the society. So you could presume potentially doesn't have the sight, and may not even know what he's doing all day.
Correction. Did all day.
So, Steve, sorry, what did you say that you were going to be doing? Looking at papers, newspapers.
Yes, for information on the vessel and the route and any news stories.
Okay, yeah. So there is. It's not front page, but there is.
I haven't rolled yet.
Oh yeah. Please roll. It's still not going to be front page, no matter how many sixes you get, Steve. It's not going to be front page news.
Jonny, this is a role play. Rolling dice, remember.
Oh dear. Okay, learning. So I've recently upgraded learning, so I'm even more likely to fail. So 5 dice plus 4 skill points. How could it possibly go wrong?
Just like that.
1 success.
Okay. Yes, not front page news, but in a couple of the papers, there is the mention of the SS Rollo being missing, and it lists Sir Rupert as a sort of person of note that was on board. And it was on its way from Gothenburg to Hull.
Okay.
And it's believed that it was caught in a storm, and potentially that's what's so. While it's sort of missing because they haven't found a wreckage, they think that that's probably because it's potentially been sent off course, but they would have still expected it to show up somewhere by now, kind of thing. Which is so that's why they've said it's presumed that it's sunk because they haven't confirmed it.
Right. And how overdue is it in terms of are we still in early stages or
2 days at this point.
Okay.
Hooks. Do you want to make an observation roll for Hooks? See if you can.
Yeah, I have already
make Hawkins a nice meal.
I've already made and failed and rolled again because I really wanted to succeed at this and taken the condition angry and made him a very angry meal successfully with 2 successes.
Here's your delicious meal. Eat it.
I think there's lots of perhaps like clattering and like banging noise from the kitchen. Maybe like Hawkins goes up to check what's going on, and then I stop him at the door, like blocking the door entirely. No, you relax, sit down, mildly forcefully, and then I come back out like a minute later with whatever his favorite thing is.
I think that it's probably scone with jam and cream and a nice cup of tea.
Yeah, I think like 2 successes. I probably did a reasonable job of it.
Yeah. It's great. And you can tell even just the fact that you have done this for him has lifted his mood a little. Even before he's kind of taken a bite of what will be a delicious morning snack.
And before he starts, I'll also say, and don't go back in the kitchen for a moment longer, and then go back and try and clean up the chaos that I've created through making a single scone and tea.
Great. John, you wanted to have a conversation. B wanted to have a conversation with Henry.
Yeah. So I'd have followed him to the library. I had a thought last night. It didn't seem maybe the right time to bring it up. But I've been thinking about what else we could do about the yard. Because, I mean, the snares will trip them up if they hit it, but it's not really... It still kind of relies on us to find them. I think I might know someone that's been breeding, dogs. Loud dogs. Probably wouldn't like a werewolf if that's what it is.
Okay. You're suggesting we bring one into the... I suppose that would... Yes, that would probably give us some awareness of any intruders, I guess. Can animals... Do they have the sight? Can they see? I guess it doesn't matter necessarily.
We could check.
Well, it's certainly worth... yes. Perhaps it would be... well, it would give me something to take my mind off things, I guess, anyway. So, yes. That seems a good idea.
All right. I'll double check with Hawkins that he's going to be happy with having an animal in his house, but I guess it is his house now. But all right, I'll go set that up.
Thank you. Thank you.
Cool. Should we say Mosling arrives back at the house, Justin?
Yeah.
Cool.
Mosling's also got the condition angry, by the way. And
Okay,
I think
well,
the recipe
Please arrive through the kitchen when I'm cleaning.
and there's
As
just
you
like
are-
pans and crashes.
I'm just like,
As
try.
you are sort of opening the door into Rose's house, you hear, Mr. Mosling Forsmark, excuse me, Mr. Mosling Forsmark,
What?
anything that you'd like, anything you'd like as an obituary for your aunt, sir?
What did you call my aunt? Oh, I see. What?
Your aunt's died, sir. Anything you'd like to say?
Nelly?
Uh,
I just go
sir,
walk in
yes.
the house and slam the door. Just
You immediately
Where
hear
is
Hux,
where
you
is
immediately hear
Hawkins?
Hux swearing.
You're
the
swearing.
scene.
I'm swearing. According to Hawkins, I need a
No,
cup
if
of
you
tea
yell
right
at Hawkins,
now.
I'm like, no.
Oh,
I'll get
what are you
it.
talking about? Hux and
Hawkins is
Mosling
having a rest.
have a fight in the hallway over the protection of the tea making capacities.
I will
there is
endeavour
still
to stop
knocking at the
Hawkins.
door. It's Bradley. He's.
It's Bradley, is it? Oh, I open the door and just say, Bradley, she was a perfectly fine and sturdy figure in my life. Is she dead?
Is she dead? Lovely. Oh, so yes, it's believed so. Because yeah, and anything that you or the other people who live here would like to say about Sir Rupert and Eleanor also. Same boat, you see.
That is typical.
I'm staring daggers at the doorway.
Good day, Bradley. We'll talk later. And I do close the door again.
Yeah, you hear like a slightly quieter single knock, and then you figure that he's basically decided that he's got one obituary that he can now go and write up, and he's leaving.
Yeah, I'm going to go back to having a shouting match with Ux.
There's a good 10-minute shouting match. I think it's probably quite cathartic, actually.
Well, I mean, the gist of my anger is that why the hell would you go off on some crazy cruise and put all of us at risk the whole society? I'm angry at them for being so foolish and dying on us. Those bastards.
I'm angry at this damn broken pan that I've managed to somehow make through making us.
Well, that's not even important, Ux. We are in deep shit. We are adrift. I don't even know if we can keep this whole society afloat. It's just, I just don't know what we're going to do without them, and they've landed us all in this.
Can we have this argument as a two people helping each other remove our conditions, Johnny?
I'm not planning on removing my condition if you want to remove yours.
If you think shouting with Muslim makes you less angry,
yeah, that's a very good point. Yeah, you're right. I'm doing more conditions.
I say you lose the angry, but you gain the exhausted.
Yeah.
I'm going to have this angry argument with everyone in the house until they tell me to go away. So,
Are you quite finished, Mr. Mosling?
If I have any pushback, I'm just going to leave and argue with someone else until I've argued with everyone, and I collapse into the living room or the drawing room, whatever we have, where we have tea, and then I'm going to wait till the tea arrives.
Are you crashing into the room where Hawkins is sitting eating his scone?
Yeah, I won't bother Hawkins though.
I'll bring you a really bad cup of tea.
Thanks.
Right. Well, at risk of setting Mr. Mosling off again, I do think we ought to talk about what happens next. And to be honest, I'm not sure all that much changes at this particular point in time, unless people think we need to do something different. We still have some ongoing business that we need to attend to. I don't think this changes the urgency of poor Mr. Bonneville's situation, or we still need to get in touch about this strange connection with Sister Josephine. There are still some quite pressing matters that I think do need our attention. There's still a lot of good that we can do.
Hawkins, do you know how this society works? I guess we all just kind of took it for granted when Sir Rupert and Eleanor were dealing with everything, top level and all that. But where's the money actually come from? And is there anyone else we need to report to? Is that all right? I guess I'd ask now.
Well, I have found some information about this. It seems that there are a few other chapters of the Apollonian Society around Europe, another here in the UK, up in Scotland. I'm not sure of the exact nature of how they're all connected and managed and things, but obviously we've been really going about our business quite independently, even of Rupert and Eleanor, in terms of some of these more recent developments. As for the funds, well, I think we've been quite fortunate that Lady Esme has been a recent sort of sponsor. But I think there is some information that Rupert has provided, actually. I think we are in quite safe hands. And I'll open up the little letter and say, we are to defer to Hawkins. And I'll turn to Hawkins, because I think we're in the same room, right? They also had a great deal of faith in you, and you obviously have kept this house running very smoothly, even in their absence recently, while they've been doing whatever it is that they have been doing. I think that trust has not been misplaced.
Look to Hawkins.
But I don't really know. You are all more experienced in dealing with these things than I am. Perhaps I can deal with the administration, I suppose.
We couldn't do many of the things that we do without knowing that the house is well run here and that things are ticking along as they need to be. Everybody has a very important role here, I think, and I wouldn't at all diminish the importance of the position that you have, Hawkins.
Plus, I mean, if it took more of your time to do all that other stuff, we could hire another butler, maybe. I don't know, someone else. Get better at cleaning up ourselves.
If there are aspects of the work that are onerous, they can be. We can defer some of them to Mr. Bonneville, Sister Constance, and I, who have some clerical skills. I'm sure that Ms. B and Huxley can have roles to play in the society and take up more of the responsibilities. Not all of it needs to lie on your shoulders.
We could also write to one of the other chapters. It seems that the chapter in Uppsala, which is apparently in Sweden, is sort of the main chapter of the society. So we could write to them and see if they have any additional information about this particular chapter or any other support that might be needed, anything like that. They may even have a better idea of what it was that Rupert and Eleanor were doing on this particular voyage.
Yes, that sounds like a smart line of inquiry. Okay, I shall look into some things. He gets up and, seems kind of, now he's got a bit of a purpose of something to do. You can see that he's got a bit more spring in his step.
Before you
heads up. Yeah.
Before
Yes.
you go, Hawkins. It feels like an odd time to put more on you after that last conversation, but I was wondering what you thought about as maybe getting a guard dog, or an alert dog, or tracking dog, or something.
Yes, of course. An excellent idea.
Right, I'll see to that. Thank you.
I shall make sure I have some fresh meat in for them.
I hear pork's cheap these days.
Yes, there may still be some in the cold storage, in fact. And he heads out the room.
Not a bad idea, B.
Can I grab some of the papers from this morning and see if I can confirm my aunt's death anywhere in these reportings on the incident?
Yes. So we'll say that she has a different surname to you, but yes, she is in the same one, sort of mentioned as a person of note in the same one that Henry had seen with Sir Rupert.
Absolutely bloody typical.
What's all this business, Mr. Mosley?
Oh, I'm just thinking, Eleanor and Rupert, how foolish do you have to be to go and to leave with so few preparations and on a ship as rickety as this? I'm
pretty sure that was a normal ferry trip across. I mean, a pretty safe route.
Why would you
see, wouldn't it?
People
cross the ocean with the Americas.
The recent argument. What's this about your aunt?
Well, I'm sure. You know what? This whole thing. It's got to be some. It can't be that they have just disappeared. We see these strange things happening all of the time, and how foolish! This boat either must have been made of flimsy cardboard, or I just. Ugh.
Are you going to start ranting again? Because if you
I'm
are, I'm
trying not
leaving.
to.
So your aunt was on this ship as well? Is that what Bradley was? I heard some sort of noise by the door.
It's just, there are clearly many people on this ship. One of them has the same name as an aunt of mine, but I'm sure there were many people. Her name was not that peculiar.
Are you quite all right, Mr. Marsling?
I'm sure there are many Nellie Gwellen Hooks.
Frowning.
I have to go write some letters. I'm going to go upstairs and write some letters to family to confirm some things.
I'm not sure I know what to make of all of. Right. Do we think that there is something?
I mean, it's possible, but what are we going to do about it? Can't exactly.
I'll give Hawkins. Let me run and give Hawkins the papers with the information about the other chapters. And I'll go drop those off with him if he's off to start getting busy administrating. So he can write to Uppsala. Right, Hawkins has got those. Perhaps he'll have some answers about some of this soon. Very strange.
Well, I suppose there's not much we can do at the moment, short of, well, perhaps we can make some connections in, get news reports from coastal areas that might be. Perhaps we can check the weather and see whether see whether anybody's reported any wreckage or anything like that. I don't want to. I think there must still be a chance that they survived. I don't. We mustn't be premature.
No, I agree. After all, we've had a missing person who's reappeared before. In any case, I don't think there's much else that we can. I'm not sure there's much else that we can do other than keep an eye out on the papers day by day and see what the news is. We do have other things. Yes, B. I suppose we need to get a dog in or whatever. Yes, Mr. Bonneville, is there anything else that we ought to be doing? Well, I suppose that could do this to protect you, but there was some discussion the other night about you want to get ahead of this thing and confront it or something. And it does seem to be coming very close to home now. Is there anything else that we can do to make preparations for this evening?
Well, if we decide that this is the time to confront it, we did learn that the house is warded, so perhaps we're safe inside. Perhaps it can't come in unless it. Well, I don't know about those. I suppose there are potential other routes through the house as the other guest arrived via, but well, I think there are other matters at stake. I feel relatively safe inside. I don't think we should necessarily. I think we can take the time. I don't think we should rush into anything. I would like to know what Rupert and Eleanor were dealing with, and I suppose we need to ensure that there was nothing else that they were actively involved with that needs immediate attention. But I suppose only Hawkins will. Well, if Hawkins is able to read their find their papers, then perhaps he can keep us informed.
Or perhaps the folks they were meeting in Sweden will know, I suppose. If we can get a letter to them or something. Especially if they're the people in charge of the society, might make sense doubly so.
If that's indeed who they were.
Someone want to try writing to them.
I certainly believe that would be a good yes. Sister Constance suggested that. I think it would be a good yes. Perhaps we should prioritize that. I think make contact, let them know what's going on.
Meanwhile, you've given me another idea. I might just pop out for a bit. I'll be back soon. And Hux is thinking of popping to the docks just to have a word with the folks down there, just to kind of find out what's the word on the ground about this ship that's gone down. Is it normal? Is it kind of an odd thing? Is it odd that they've immediately been pronounced, it's definitely sunk, even though they haven't found evidence on it? Has there been any attempt to rescue? Kind of perhaps a bit more up-to-date news and hearsay than the papers might have, I suppose.
Okay.
I might get nothing, but,
Yeah, give us
observation.
Investigation?
More of a people thing, though, isn't it? So observation, I'd make the case.
Wasling's going to write a letter for for a few societies, introducing us as introducing us and explaining the situation. Happy to show them to the team to get approval on that.
Observation is what you want to choose.
I feel.
I know I could invent an NPC, but I don't stay there. Go on.
I kind of feel like it's manipulation.
Oh, that's okay too. That's also people.
Out of the three empathy things, like manipulation is influencing how other people think, feel, or act, or using your social skills in other ways.
All good. Like as long as it's an empathy one, that's fine. I do have my negative, so I've got to remember to roll that. So I'll remove one dice. 1 success.
Okay. So what exactly are you asking?
I guess there's lots of things in it, but is this normal? Is a big part of it. Is it normal that there's been no attempt, as far as we're aware, at rescue, or has there been an attempt at rescue? I guess that's it. Is there anything weird about it? It's kind of the general chatter about it.
Okay, do you know what? I'm going to say that you bump into Higgins.
Cool.
And he says, "Oh, all right, Hux."
Yeah, I'm all right. Having a wander around. How about yourself?
Yeah, I've got myself on this. He's sort of holding a big crate, lugging duty, Oh,
fun. Hope they're paying you for it. Have you heard about this sinking in the North Sea just the other day? Steamer, wasn't it?
No, I've not. No. Is that
no
news today? Is it? We're up before the papers, And a couple of the other guys laugh behind him.
It's just it seemed a bit. I don't know, pronouncing them. They were pronounced all dead immediately. It's a pretty safe route, I thought. Just wondering what you thought about it, and I'll describe the route, I suppose, and see what they think about that.
Oh. Yeah, that does seem weird, but any kind of distance on a boat like that, you're putting your hands at the mercy of the sea, I suppose. Bad weather, blow something into the rocks. It's not. I wouldn't describe it as a strange thing. It's surprising in a way because the majority of these things do go off without a hitch, but these things can happen. So
yeah, I see what you mean. And out there, is there any chance of rescue, or people go looking for you?
I mean, if somebody happens to cross you, then sure, but it's a big old big old space.
Hmm. Yeah. Interesting. Anyway, there's just a friend of mine's aunt. We're missing on that. Just wondering about it.
No, that's a shame.
Guess we can hope they turn up, but it doesn't sound much like it.
Yeah, so it's a passenger thing, is it?
Yeah.
Hmm. I'd have thought the company would probably have the sort of last known location if you did want to try and mount some kind of search effort.
Well, I mean, at least a bit more info to take to my friend, I suppose.
Where they going from and to?
Did you say it was Gothenburg, Jonny?
Yeah.
To London, presumably?
It's to Hull.
Oh, to Hull, sorry. Yeah, Gothenburg to Hull. Yeah.
Bloody hell. That's home for me.
Oh.
Yeah. Oh, I bet it's it'll be can't remember the name now. It'll come to me. I'll pop by because it's probably they make some of them up there. If it's a steamer, it'll be I'll pop by when I remember the name.
I'll let you be to think and ferry this stuff around. Good luck. I'll see you later.
Ferry, that's a good joke, Hooks. Good one, that.
Totally deliberate. I'm always on it, me. Come by. I'll get you a drink or something when you pop by as well. Take care. I'll wander off.
Yeah.
Cool.
What's everyone else doing while Hooks is off?
I'm gonna take Adam because I had to break the news to him this morning, so he could do with a bit of cheering up. And I might go and see if Apple is up for a trip out, because I am trying to find a dog that can apparently see Vaesen. And I don't know if dogs can, or if it's like with humans that some of them can.
Okay. You're knocking on the little door?
Yeah.
A repeat of the knock back from the other side.
I was wondering if you wanted to go outside with me and Adam. We're going to try and find a dog.
The door swings open.
Do you know can dogs see you? Good. Off we go then.
Yeah, are you planning on so Apple can fly, are you planning on like carrying them, like secreting them in any way on the what is the plan?
Just popping into every room being like, just be Apple, off we go, bye concerts.
Just taking the ferry for a walk, don't mind me.
I more meant when you're outside, like obviously the majority of people
won't be able to see them,
but yeah,
just hat.
Can I? Apple's a little bit smaller than Adam, isn't he?
Yes.
Can I?
Yeah, quite a bit smaller. Yeah.
Give him some of Adam's slightly smaller clothes so he looks less obviously a fairy, and a hat.
But won't that mean that if people look at the clothes, they'll just see floating clothes? If they see,
I just want you guys to
and broomsticks. Bed knobs and broomsticks. We've got the ending of. That's what we've got here.
I love where this is going. This is great.
Okay, scratch the clothes idea.
An umbrella.
How would that help?
I don't know. You can't hide something with an umbrella. That's probably a stupid idea.
I'm trying to think if I can. He's a bit too big to like put in a bag or something.
I mean, that seems so mean. Presumably,
is.
we know this fairy can like get around by themselves, so the fairy can just kind of stealthily follow you.
To be fair, they're a bit out of practice.
I mean, we think they
Yeah.
came to get and help us out of the docks, maybe.
This
And they've
world is
been
going
to
to
the
be
toy
crazy
shop.
and new for them.
Hmm.
You totally like. I was just asking the question. You're totally within your rights to be like, it'll be fine. Nobody will see them. And yeah, they've been.
What are they going to do
helping
if they do
for-
see them?
Just a chorus of
Well-
screams and shouts. As just
It would be useful. Well, we'd immediately find out who can see Vaesen, which is quite a useful recruitment tactic.
That is true.
Just pop round to see Bradley's lad, and you know.
I'm gonna try putting him in some of Adam's old clothes.
Okay.
When you
I'll
come
take him
down the
with me.
stairs and he's wearing it's wearing Adam's clothes, and Mosling just sticks his head out the door and goes, just
Not a word.
closes it again.
I wish I was there. Maybe I
Don't
could
give it a
walk by.
name.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. So you head out.
I don't have Hux's magic make up a person powers. Would it be reasonable to say, because I've come into London fairly often for business, that I might know like an old hunter that has settled in the city and is breeding his hunting dog or something? That's a bit too specific, isn't it?
So, firstly, John, can I ask you to make a stealth roll for your dressing up of Apple?
Yes. That's fine. Yeah, that's fine.
I feel like your statement about finding an old hunter in the city is not intruding on my ability, because my ability allows me to spontaneously make them up on demand for something else. Yours is just related to the thing we're already getting from our house, so it's fair.
Yeah.
I don't feel like you're stealing my skill. It's fine.
Yeah, Sam can just go, I just want this person to be there.
Yeah, exactly.
That is 2 successes.
Okay, perfect. Yeah. You know, it's nearly November now, so being wrapped up in a scarf with a hood up and a hat is completely reasonable. And gloves. So, you know, the only part that if somebody happened to would look weird is sort of this area, which if you've got your hood up, it's shadowy. So people might have kind of like a second glance, but by that point you're already past them. And you work your way to which part of town do you think for this?
I'm really bad with my boroughs of London, but I'm gonna like probably something East Endish.
Okay. Yep. Yeah. So I think it's probably fair to assume that there would be like animals for sale on the market potentially at this point in time. So yeah, you go to a guy who you know from previous interactions, basically has like kind of sport dogs, like hunting dogs or whatever, and says up, morning. Been a while since you've been here. I'm a little surprised to see you, to be honest.
Well, I'm spending a lot of time in the city these days.
Oi, hands off. Are these yours?
Aye.
Dogs like that little one.
Good. Are they all paying attention to them?
So most of the dogs, it's very noisy, right? The dogs are all barking because they're caged up. But the couple that are kind of in the cages on the floor and are where Apple is are kind of like sniffing and panting with that panty face that looks like a smile. You think that probably if you moved Apple along, they would all probably, you're not sure, but certainly the two that are within sort of sniffing and looking and maybe licking if Apple reaches a handout range are definitely paying attention to Apple.
Excellent.
So you could safely get one or both of those, and that would be, yeah, that would be safe.
Which ones are your loudest? Got anything that stand out?
Kind of points to one that's over the other side from where you are.
I'll take both the young'uns over. Young'uns. He's like hundreds of years old.
Yeah, it's certainly louder over here. And you do notice that they all kind of pay attention as Apple walks past. And this one, again, stops barking and kind of is looking inquisitively.
Can we have a closer look at this one? Make sure he's friendly enough when we want him.
He kind of like slightly opens the cage and kind of reaches a hand in and grabs it, not like roughly, but by the scruff of its neck, and kind of just holds it and pushes it to sit. Yeah, they're all nice enough when they're not on a trail.
We're looking for one as I do want a hunting dog. At the moment, we're looking for a guard dog. We've had some dodgy sorts coming into the house and the yard I'm staying at.
Right, you are, yeah. Yeah, this one should do it.
Right.
She's a good dog. She's a good dog.
She have a name?
Not yet.
We'll get on that then. We'll take her.
Grand. Basically just hands the scruff of the dog's neck over to you, takes some money from you, and basically turns around and leaves you to go.
Excellent.
Well, then you're walking through the street carrying a dog like a suitcase. Neck. I'm assuming this is quite a small dog then.
It's going to be... Go for it.
I was going to say, it's sort of like that mid-sized. It's kind of, it's a mongrel, so you're not entirely sure what it is. But you would guess it's an adolescent of a dog that will be sort of like collie size, stockier, but that kind of, not a huge like Doberman sized dog, but like definitely a decent size. Would scare away somebody if it was aggressive at them.
Good. All right, I'll tie something into like a makeshift collar and take the dog and the two little ones back, I guess.
You can you make me an observation roll?
Yes, yes, I can.
Do I want that?
Oh no!
I'll do it.
Observation or vigilance?
We'll say observation.
Damn. God, I rolled 2 dice and they were both 6s.
Okay. So at first you notice that the guy with the dogs kind of gave Apple a funny look, and you were maybe thinking, oh, maybe he's kind of noticed that there's nothing here. But then what you think actually happened was that he could see Apple based on his kind of facial expressions when he kind of looked. So not necessarily that he noticed that anything was off, because they're reasonably humanoid faces and it was wrapped up, but it was like he was definitely kind of paying close attention and didn't go, what are those floating clothes?
Right.
Yeah.
So he didn't go, you've got an invisible child, but he also didn't go, you've got a fairy wrapped up in
Yes.
clothing. Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. I shall note that one down.
Sure, it'll be fine. I'm sure Jonny won't have rolled any complications on those 8 upgrade dice we spent.
Oh yeah, that's a thing.
Why do we even upgrade? It seems like a terrible idea. Is a dog worth the cost?
Hey, we got Apple out of it, so.
Yeah, true, true.
And Albert Bradley. What are Henry, Constance, and Musling doing, I suppose, at this juncture?
I am actually not sure. I think I would have maybe I don't think we'd said a couple of days ago I was going to write a letter back to the old church to inquire about Sister Josephine, and so I think I might start drafting something, but I haven't actually sent it. So I might sit and start drafting something up there, but not go to send it because I'm thinking. Like, I wonder whether we want to potentially put any info, like whether it's better to just turn up at the church at some point. And so, yeah, I think I might, yeah, a little bit at a loss, I think. It's just kind of waiting to see when everyone else gets back. For like, yeah, I mean, maybe I'll go see if Hawkins wants a hand with writing any letters to the other chapters and things like that. Make sure that a letter gets out to like any family and things like that. I'm sure they probably are aware, but just help a bit with some of the admin and the writing and stuff, I think. Offer to pray with him if that's what he wants, and yeah, just spend some time with Hawkins until the others get back and decide what to do next.
Okay.
I think I probably might be waiting for B to return, because I did have a thought that occurred to me earlier on. So probably doing that. Yeah, I can't think of anything else that's particularly immediately pressing. So I'll just hang around and wait, I think.
I think modelling will be writing, updating the annals, drafting these letters to the other societies, asking for tips and tricks,
Okay.
that kind of thing.
Yeah, so you, Constance, and Hawkins are kind of working together, I suppose, probably in the library, I guess. Cool. Okay. So I would say that Hux and B probably return back at a similar time. B with unnamed dog in tow.
And 2 small childlike figures.
Which is one more than you should have.
Yeah, I just see you walk into the door in front of me with like a dog and 2 children. Just go. So like, maybe by the time I'm in the house, there's only Adam and the dog, and I'm just like, is there a second child just there?
I think Adam and Apple will probably be quite
drinking.
playful on the way home with each other as well, like kind of, like kids would be. But also sort of fussing the dog and being quite excitable.
Good.
I will give B a quizzical look, but maybe I won't say anything.
I say nothing.
Amazing.
I guess maybe after a moment I'll just say, Guess I'll get started on a kennel then. I guess Hawkins will be busy with all them letters, so might as well make a start at it.
I hope you're better at building kennels than you are at making a scone.
I've built more things than I've cooked in my life, so it should be all right.
Do you have... Oh, of course you don't. You just walked in. I'm gonna go find Henry.
I'll follow.
I'll go off to try and find Henry.
I'll be, I don't know, probably sat reading a paper or something. And we'll presumably hear the sound of approaching excitement.
Yeah, there's probably the kind of that scrabbling claws on wooden floor kind of thing as this dog smells somebody new in a different room and is kind of pulling to try and get through.
I'll probably sort of stand up as you come in and nod politely at the dog.
Has Bonneville ever encountered a dog before?
I see you were successful then. And who is this fine creature? I will say.
Yet to be named.
Okay.
She's a girl dog, if that gives anyone any ideas, but not very good at naming, so.
Well, hello. I will sort of kneel down and introduce myself, and hopefully not get savaged.
You're on mute, Jonny. But I'm imagining you being done. Hello, I'm Henry Bonneville. I'm a private investigator.
Here's my card.
The dog has a fine temperament.
Did you roll that, or?
No.
Oh, wow. Okay. Wow. Good. Okay. Well, I'll sort of pet the dog, ruffle its fur, and good. Great. Now what?
Well, I was wondering if we still had that bit of skin. It's only been a couple of days.
Oh.
She might not get anywhere, but
it's worth a
try.
Gives
an idea at least.
I'll go and fetch it.
If you're up to it.
Sure. Yes, I'll go off and find the small bit of tattooed skin that proffer it to the dog carefully. We definitely need to give her that name. This is going to be awkward otherwise.
It sniffs and almost immediately begins growling.
That's a good sign.
And sort of, kind of steps so it's solid and is almost as if there is somebody or something there that it's trying to scare off and intimidate.
Okay. Well, that certainly has an effect. Good. Yes.
Should we take her around the back of the yard? Where we found it?
That's it. Yes, of course, yes. Yes, let's do that. Right.
I'll leave you two to...
Are you sure you're all right with this, Henry?
I've not had a dog. It's just new things. I'm sure it'll be fine.
I'll leave you two to it.
Are you guys off somewhere else? Where are you guys off somewhere? You're not. You haven't come through to the library. This is all happening somewhere else, is it?
I think we're probably I imagine Henry was like reading the paper in like one of the
some
social
parlor or sitting room.
rooms.
Yes.
I'm just gonna go get Hawkins and figure out this kennel situation. If one of you wants to come find me, might be handy to have someone else build the damn thing.
You can take the little ones with you.
Yeah. Okay. Sure. Oh, by the way, I head down to the docks just to ask about, well, what happened to that ship? You know, if it was normal, steamer just go missing and all that. Didn't get much useful stuff, but Higgins is going to pop over later, and maybe he said he might know the company who did the trip. Might be able to give us a bit more info. So just keep an ear on the door. Let him in if I'm not about. Give him a drink. I'll head off.
We'll head round the back of the fence then.
I think as we're going around there, Henry will turn to B as we sort of get outside and sort of away from prying ears. B, I did have a thought. I don't know whether this is possible or not. I was wondering whether how we would locate, if they are indeed still alive, Rupert and Eleanor and the other people on the vessel. Do you think that there are Vaesen that could help? Do you think it's possible that it's a shot in the dark? But
The captain did say he was rescued, didn't he?
He did. It
would be nice if we knew more about the area, but could be if there's a more populated area out there.
It's something to. I mean, I suppose news will turn up one way or another, but it might well be worth considering. I know some other members of of our group might be rather less inclined to. Still, if the opportunity arises.
No, that's a good idea.
Anyway, shall we? Yes, names. I really must. Do you have any thoughts?
Look at me. I named a fairy apple. I'm not the best at naming things, Henry.
Look down at the dog and. Can't think of anything at the moment.
So as you take it out to the yard, when you kind of take it near the area where there was the kind of blood on the thing, the place where whatever was here obviously jumped over the fence and was, it takes a similar stance, and there's kind of a low rumble of a growl, the teeth baring a little. I don't know if you want to do any more than that, but it's, clearly it doesn't like this thing, whatever it is.
Can I try, go on, follow the trail? That kind of thing.
Yes, it's pulling to go through the fence.
We'd have to go around it, yeah.
Okay.
We could go for I guess it's had a walk already, or she's had a walk already, but... we go for a quick wander.
Yeah, all right.
So you'd need to go back through the house. And as you're inside, there is a knock at the door. And Hawkins goes to answer it, and Higgins is at the door. I don't know where everybody else is, if everybody else is sort of within.
I'll be nearby.
Well, you guys all
library
in the
with.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
Hawkins will
with-
have left the library to go and get the door.
I might have beaten Hawkins to the door then if I was waiting for Higgins anyway.
All right.
Hey, think of it.
I've remembered. Yeah. It's the Wilson line.
Come on in.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, Wilson line in all. And
Nice.
they've got 2 ships. So I've looked at the paper just to. So the Rollo's the one that's missing.
Yeah.
But there's also the Romeo. So if you needed to go out, I suppose, on one of the ships, there's still one. They kind of, they go back and forth between them.
Mhm.
So yeah, is that useful?
Yeah, that's good. Do they have a company office in London anywhere, or is it up in Hull?
No, it's all in all. Yeah,
No.
yeah.
Okay. Mhm. No worries. Well, that's
Kingston, to be precise, not the London Kingston, the old Kingston.
yeah. I think I know what you mean. Gotcha. Okay, well, that's good either way. I'll pour him a drink. Good to know. Presumably, others are kind of meandering in the room at this point, so probably hear conversation. I'll just kind of say, "Oh, Higgins, go on."
Did bring the dog in?
Yeah.
Oh, you got a dog.
Yeah.
Always a good addition to a household, I think.
Well, she certainly seems like she's settling on, all right.
Good.
Higgins was just helping me out, figuring out what's going on with that steamer. Knows the company at least. We could follow it up a bit more if you're curious. I'll nod at Moslin Forcemark and say, for your aunt, a little bit pointedly to everyone else.
Yes, I hope she comes back, Mr. Moslin Forcemark. Hopefully, it's just a missing ship, and maybe they just dock one day and.
I'm sorry. I don't need any of your sympathy. I'm sure she's quite fine, but it would be sensible to look out for this ship.
I'll give Higgins a sympathetic look.
He doesn't react, he's fine. Right, well, thank you for the drink. Better get back to work. If you've got anything else, you know where to find me now.
Yeah, that's great. Thanks. Take care.
Oh, we'll be having a memorial for the captain. If you'd like to come, I can give you the details when we put them together.
Certainly.
It won't be a family affair. It's more, probably down at the docks.
Yeah, keep in touch.
He heads out.
While I've got you here, Hawkins, I was going to make a start on them kennels. If you're happy for me to, I figured you'd be a bit busy. Just out there over the back, you happy for me to get some wood and ash something up?
Yes, of course, yes. There is another knock at the door.
I was about to go out, and I'd be like, oh.
Hawkins goes and gets it, and it's a telegram delivery. And you see from behind his shoulders kind of slump as he has, it's kind of less than 24 hours since he's last done this same thing, and kind of turns and closes the door behind him and opens it here with everybody there. And he kind of looks at it and says, well, certainly strange, but more pleasant than yesterday. And passes it to Bonneville, maybe. I would assume maybe Henry reads it out to everybody.
Sure. Yeah.
And it says, continue your investigations. Help is on the way. And it's signed Linnea Elfa Clint, the Society. And we'll leave it there.
Curious.
Things are in hand. Or maybe
Did we-
Yeah, we didn't even send anything.
Not yet.
No.
Magic.
They got the news too, but that would be
The
quick
magic
for
of telegrams. Like,
to be fair, yeah, that's about the right time for a telegram, isn't it?
Cool. Thanks everybody for watching. If you have any questions or comments, put them in the chat. We should be back next Monday, I think. Wednesday night will be Simba Room. Starting Thursday is the Big Wet, which Pierre is running. Is that right? This Thursday? I think it is.
Yep.
Can't remember. Yes.
Yes,
Everyone else
definitely.
saying
Yes,
yes.
Thursday.
As I said, Kevin Costner may or may not make an appearance in this water-based world. And please do come join us on our Discord and social media. Discord is the best place probably for up-to-date details, and you can also do things like chat with us and other people that watch the things. And if you go on our Patreon and you want to support us on there, then you can do things like name the characters. So some characters who may or may not be dead were named by patrons. So
Join the patrons so Jonny can kill your beloved characters.
Next, it'll be, you get to name this entry in the obituary.
The obituaries all just say, "This is typical."
They're dead.
Cool. Yes.
this is typical is a great obituary, by the way. Like,
Yeah.
This is just like her.
this is just like them dying.
Always knew this would happen. That's what I want.
I was not expecting to laugh so hard at seeing about obituaries. That was ridiculous.
I love that scene where the reporter was just jumping on you at the door. That was so funny, and you were just
Glad.
angry.
I mean, I was already angry before the dice decided, you know. Deary me.
I mean, Bradley was positively well behaved in that.
He was well
obviously.
behaved, but
Yeah.
he was confronting me with news of my family death. So maybe he knows in those situations.
There are some
it's
limits.
best
Yes, even here.
Yeah.
I was trying to make him still really like not tactful at all. So like this is obviously the first you've heard of it. He's just going, "Your aunt's dead. Got anything for an obituary?"
I love that because I was like, this car. I was like, when you said it was Bradley, I was like, what? Even Bradley? No, I think you've had the most vague and professional relationships, still doorstepping me about my aunt's death. I'm like, this is so fucking Bradley. Like, it's just. Oh dear.
I feel like we've learned just be aggressively angry and shove him out the door seems to work.
I think almost all of the occasions where Bradley has knocked on our door have involved one of us slamming the door in his face.
Yeah.
He's just such a face slammable sort of guy, you know.
He's a reporter. It comes with the territory.
Mm-hmm.
Let's do experience points. Did you participate in the session? Yes, 1 XP. Did you confront any Vaesen? No. Did you identify a previously unknown Vaesen? No. Were you affected by your dark secret? No. Did you take risks to protect other people? No. Have you learned anything?
I made a cup of tea.
You've learned quite a lot actually about like the world.
Mm-hmm.
Did you develop something in your headquarters? I think I gave you the point for that last time.
You did, yeah.
Yeah.
And did you perform an extraordinary action? No, so 2 XP.
Cool.
Did everybody upgrade stuff on themselves from last time, by the way? Because we didn't talk about that at the start. Did anybody get anything cool, any talents or anything? We wove in Justin's for Gale, which was increasing your resources to 5, wasn't it?
That's true. I'm now
Did
middle
we-
class.
Did we mention you inherited in that session.
No, I don't think I don't think. I mean, I don't think
that's kind of
Mosley
early,
knows-
isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Like
You're still mourning your poor aunt.
I think I'm going from like stable to middle class. So it's not like it's not a life changing sum of money, at least yet. Maybe I'll bump it again in the future and get to well off, and when the full trust, when the process of the estate is all closed up.
Or you make
For
all
now
your
they can
planets
release
from your book.
only. For now they can only release so many hundreds of pounds, but in the future maybe I'll bump it again.
This does bode quite poorly for Rupert and Eleanor, though.
I know.
I was just thinking that, like
your aunt
Good
is
point.
definitely dead.
Yeah, we're like, oh, the boat. It might be that they're okay. Meanwhile, we've got this guaranteed
Oh god.
mechanical set.
I guess it could be that there was like a bit of flotsam jetsam, and Rupert and
She
Eleanor
could have had a
are
heart
on it,
attack on
but
the
they had
boat,
to
like-
push.
It's quite funny because literally earlier today I watched a YouTube video that was something like 10 times that the director gave you a hint of the surprise ending or something like earlier in the film, and then I literally just then went, hang on, does me saying that this has happened mean?
Oh gosh.
Also,
I'll
I
tell you-
love that you got to give me some credit for them making up names on the spot. Nellie Gewellenhoek is
Yeah,
That
that was
was-
a good
that was a
name.
tough
So
one.
good.
I enjoyed that, yeah. I'll tell you what, when we were getting deep in the conversation about, what's happened to them on the journey across the North Sea, my brain was just off on a tangent about these deep sea dwelling sea monsters, which are hyper intelligent and clearly know exactly where members of the society are at all times, and decided to sink that ship just to punish us for our actions in the session before. I'm just like,
typical.
See, I'm sitting here thinking, how is Mosling's aunt connected to this? Was she also a member of the society? Is Mosling actually the secret heir to the society here in
Lol,
London?
no.
She was
gonna find
actually
out.
like the secret benefactor of the whole thing or something. She's
Mosling-
part of the whole conspiracy.
Mosling was actually the chosen one all along.
Laugh it
Clearly.
off. What an awful chosen one. Couldn't happen to a less deserving person. Deary me.
Join the Discord and choose the cause of death for your favorite PC.
PC.
Upgrades.
Mhm.
I think that's probably a Patreon exclusive, actually, come to think of it.
Yeah, surely. Is that a level?
Yeah.
Moderate.
42,
I would say.
42. How stiff is Mosling's upper lip? Yeah.
Moderately still.
I feel like
It's gone
must be
from
wavering.
it's gone from stable to middle class.
Yes.
I feel like it must be wavering a bit more upon seeing the fairy go for a walk with.
Yeah, it's just
the-
like we
out in the
literally
town.
have one rule, which is Mosling doesn't see the fairy. And like the first thing
And then
is
Bee's
like,
dressing
John
it
is
up like
I
her
don't care
child.
anymore.
Look,
Taking
I
it for
dressed him up
walks.
so that you couldn't see him, and then you just happened to walk out of the room at the wrong time.
I love that so much. That's just brilliant.
Bee adopts a fairy is what I'm reading into this. Like, yeah.
Yeah, there's
You know-
there's odds with Constance's. I think all Vaesen are demons, and then there's dressing up the fairy and taking them to town to buy a dog. That's a step
I
further.
needed it for scientific reasons, guys.
Come on, let's get you a
Scientific
pet.
reasons.
I mean, at least the fairy wasn't in the house while I was in the house, so I think it was a mixed blessing.
Look, just a single mother living out in a cottage in the middle of woods. In folklore, might end up raising a fairy as a child anyway. At least in this case, I know it's a fairy to begin with.
Just embrace it.
Sure.
Is that everything from the chat?
I did like this one.
Hold hands with your buddy.
Yeah, that was good.
But yeah, that is
Did-
everything. Oh,
Did we?
sorry, go on, Sam.
I was going to say, did we more or less decide on a name for the dog in backstage, or are we going to save that for next session?
I'm happy to go with it, but I'm happy to save it until next session so that the person who came up with it can subtly slide into the conversation.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah.
Just they go, That's cliffhanger exactly. So come along, join us. Find out the name of the dog.
I mean, that's a pretty good cliffhanger. We should have led with that.
Yeah.
Mhm. Exactly.
We also
We'll have
have.
to get sorry.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say you'll have to get a new dog every session so that each one ends with the cliffhanger of finding out what this dog's name
So
is in the
many
next
dogs.
session.
You had 23 dogs.
Doesn't
I've
the kennel
forgotten
say
the
you can have
names.
3 dogs?
Yeah,
I
it
think
does.
up to three, I think. Yeah.
There you go.
That's 3 episodes.
It'll be Hooks going, I've just built a couple of extra, just in case, while I was doing it anyway.
The whole building surrounded by kennels.
For some reason, he's still broken another pan while making the kennels. Nobody knows how or why.
Amazing. Amazing.
There's a hammer right here, Hux.
I was using the hammer. There was just a pan that was under my knee when I bent down and it ended up breaking.
Were you going to go through thanks, John, from you?
Yeah, I was. A thank you to the Crystal Bridge, Viking Gandalf, Stephen Cloak, and Smoosh Uwu.
Nice. Thanks to Crystal Bridge for engaging in the chat this evening as well.
Oh, yes.
Always nice to have new people. But yes, join us next week for more dog naming and world building and
Awkward introductions to a dog.
Taking fairies for walks.
and awkward outros. Bye.